To manage the virtual hard drive settings, I just go back to the settings of the virtual machine itself. Under SCSI controller, if I click on hard drive, there's an edit option here. Something to keep in mind. If your virtual machine is powered on, edit will not be an option because it's actually using that hard drive while it's running. I'm going to click edit. When I click edit, it brings up the edit virtual hard disk wizard. On this first screen, I'm just going to click next. I have three options now. To start at the bottom, I can expand this virtual hard drive. My virtual hard drive right now is 127 gigabytes. That is the default size when you create a new virtual machine. So if I click next, it tells me the current size is at 127 gigabytes, and I can extend this up to 64 terabytes since it's a VHDX drive. If I go back, I can also convert this from a VHDX to a VHD or vice versa. It is unlikely I would ever convert a VHDX to a VHD. The common time you would do that, if I built this virtual machine on a 2012 or newer operating system, and I want to move it to a 2008 R2 Hyper-V server. 2008 R2, neither of those supports a VHDX. So I could simply convert it to a VHD, then I could export it or just move it to a 2008 or 2008 R2 server, and it would run with no problem. More likely, if you have a 2008 R2 server, or you had in the past, the hard drive would be a VHD. When I want to move that to a 2012 or newer Hyper-V server, I can simply come here and convert it to VHDX. I'm going to click next on this. I also have the option of fixed and dynamically expanding. When I create my virtual hard drive along with the virtual machine and Hyper-V, it always creates a dynamically expanding virtual hard drive. Now, the way this works, we saw the virtual hard drive right now is 127 gigabytes in size. So that's the max size of my virtual hard drive. Because it's a dynamically expanding drive, it's only as large as what you save into it. So when you create a dynamically expanding virtual hard drive, it actually starts off as 4 megs in size. Does not matter how large you set the size, it'll be a 4 meg drive. Once you format it, once you start saving data into it or installing the operating system, it just grows. So it's as big as what you actually put into it, but never to exceed that number. So my hard drive here can grow up to 127 gigs. The only downside to a dynamic disk, a process has to run that keeps extending the disk. The other option is a fixed size virtual hard drive. A fixed size virtual hard drive is immediately the size that you create. If you make it 127 gigs, it is 127 gigs the moment you create it. So it does not have to expand itself out. This is recommended, as the description says, for anything with sensitive disk performance. Normally that would be some type of database, Exchange server, like an email server, traditional SQL server. Any of those likely have high disk performance needs, so fixed would be recommended for that. If we go back, the only other option is to compact. This goes with a dynamically expanding disk. The dynamically expanding disk we just talked about, we said it started off as a 4 meg disk, but it grows as you save into it. But it does not compact itself. So let's say you do have a 127 gig dynamically expanding disk. You save up to 100 gigs of data in that disk. Well, it grows to be 100 gigs in size. You then delete 80 gigs of data. It does not compact itself, so it stays at 100 gigs. If I want to compact it, I manually just come through and select compact. Then it will remove all the empty space from that drive, and it will essentially shrink itself back down. So dynamically expands, but does not dynamically compact itself. So those are our options for managing, editing our virtual hard drives.